Oh, great.
Hello?
Yes?
When's the next video? It's been months.
I don't know. Soonish, I guess.
What's it going to be about? Anime? A new movie?
Probably this cartoon show I've been watching recently on Netflix.
DC Superhero Girls?
No. It's actually called 𝗧𝗪𝗜𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥 Blood. It's really interesting. It's all about—
You should talk about DC Superhero Girls.
Listen, I appreciate you taking an interest in my future content, but I have zero intention watching whatever that is.
Is that so? Tell me, how many episodes are you in on this Dragon's Blood you speak of?
2, I think.
You got a script?
No.
You got your footage?
I'll get around to it.
Do you even know what you're going to talk about?
Not really, no.
You should talk about DC Superhero Girls.
Fine.
That did not go the way I expected.
Hey, so it's been a while. I wanted to take some time from the channel despite my promise in my 2K subscriber thank you video. I honestly didn't feel like posting anything at the time, and soon the days turned into weeks, the weeks turned into months, and so forth. But it's all good now because I'm ready to jump back on things, I hope. I've been getting up to a lot during my time off, coming up with new ideas and things to cover, stuff that I would undoubtedly have a blast talking about here on the channel. DC Superhero Girls? Yeah, that wasn't part of the plan, to be honest, but due to constant pestering, I decided to check it out and see what all the fuss is about. As usual, I was quick to judge the show upon the first glance. I didn't give it any attention since, well, come on, look at it. It doesn't seem like the type of show that's meant for a target audience that is around my age. But here's what got me to reconsider. I'm no stranger to these kids shows. On my channel, I've made at least a couple of videos talking about cartoon shows that are meant for a younger audience. So why should this be any different? One of the main things that was playing on my mind going into this was the obvious. It's a show that's mostly aimed at girls. Have you noticed the issue yet? No? Alright, let me spell it out for you. If it wasn't obvious, I'm an adult male, so you would expect me not to even give this any time of day, let alone sit down and watch it. However, DC Superhero Girls does something I never expected it to do. But more on that in a second. Allow me to introduce you to the show first. So what is DC Superhero Girls exactly? DC Superhero Girls is an American animated superhero television series developed by Faust and produced by Warner Bros. Animation for Cartoon Network. Based on the web series and franchise of the same name, the series premiered on March 8th, 2019 with a 1-hour special. The series follows the adventures of teenage versions of Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Bumblebee, Supergirl, Green Lantern, and Zatanna, who are students at Metropolis High. And you know what? That's not a bad setup. Taking superheroes and de-aging them into high school, I can see why this would appeal to early teens. It's currently sitting at 64 episodes. From what I can gather, the show tells a classic coming-of-age story of these superhero girls and how they deal with their choices and decisions regarding their superhero identities and their secret identities. The show focuses a lot on physical comedy, emotional storylines, and a large gallery of villains. So you can go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the overall premise of the show. In all honesty, if you were to pitch me this show and I, having zero insight on what this is about and how it would end up looking, were to listen, I would kind of be on board for this show. And since we're on a good note, let me lead into the two things I admire about DC Superhero Girls: the detailed animation and how the show balances its appeal. Alright, so first things first, the animation that has gone into this show is pretty darn good, and it's one of the main things that got my attention. I really admire all these subtle details in the lining of the characters' faces, clothes, and lips. Like, look at this. You can see this isn't just some boring line work. It's almost as if these characters and objects were sketched, maybe even painted, and it quite honestly surprised me. From afar, it looks pretty average, but close up, you get to admire the hard work in the details. The expressions are really fluid and explosive in a way. Big eyes for the designs help bring out the extra detail and wackiness and emotion, which personally I'm a big fan of. Since it's on Cartoon Network, I can't help but compare it to other shows, and already the difference is clear as day. This isn't some cheap animated show. Things are drawn and created with a passion, so you know, hats off to the animation crew. The last thing I want to mention is basically an elaboration of my earlier point about the show's appeal. DC Superhero Girls does something I never expected it to do. Going in on this, I was expecting some cutesy, girly stuff and just about minimal action, but instead the show was miraculously able to balance out the girlish side of things with the superhero side of things, and that was where I decided to stick around. Some, if not most of the episodes focus on this whole secret identity issue with the girls. They come across many problems where the easy solution is just to use their powers and abilities, but they mostly don't, which is understandable. It gives us more time to understand the shortcomings of their alter egos. But when things go down on the second half of the episode, I like how they all decide to embrace their powers and do something no ordinary girls can do. That's where I believe the show can hook in a wider audience. The animation style definitely complements the action and they work in perfect harmony. But you know, those were just a couple of my reasons why I liked the show. The last point I want to mention is just a bit of a nitpick, but also a general question about the representation of the male characters. I won't dive too deep into this, but I'll try and keep it brief. Why are the guys, excluding Barry Allen, Steve Trevor and Garth, why are they such dicks? Now I get this whole show is basically answering the question, what if these superheroes were in high school? So I guess some of their behavior makes sense, but most of the time the main boys we spend more time with, such as Hal Jordan and Oliver Queen, are cocky, egotistical dicks. Not only them, but even Superman suffers from this trait. Superman, arguably the nicest and caring and compassionate hero in the entire DC universe, and he's so full of himself it hurts to watch. To give some context, in one episode, Kara Danvers, aka Supergirl, has had enough. She gets no credit as a hero because she's always in Superman's shadow, so she eventually confronts him about it. And understanding this take on Supergirl's character, I can already tell she's not one for conveying her feelings in a light manner. But Superman being Superman, you'd expect him to understand where she's coming from, and instead of arguing with her or ignoring her, he would try to help her out. We could have gotten an episode focusing on Superman helping Kara come out of his shadow and allowing Metropolis to see Supergirl for the first time as her own hero. But no, nah. Let's have Supergirl and Superman bicker and fight like children, causing damage to property and putting people in danger. Because comedy. Okay, last one, I promise. Robin. Why? As soon as this self-absorbed little shit popped up on my screen, I hoped and prayed it was Jason Todd, because there's no fucking way this whiny, selfish little brat is Dick Grayson. Not my Dick Grayson. Please. There's just no way. Oh crap, it's Dick Grayson. Oh man.
Look how they massacred my boy.
I had a lot of fun watching this, I won't deny that. I can see why it wouldn't work for most DC fans since, you know, first impressions, but the series is still ongoing. The episodes are like 10 to 11 minutes long, so it's not like you're watching an episode stretched out to 22 minutes, and I feel like that time frame would deter most of the show's audience away. This iteration of the DC Superhero Girls is slowly making a name for itself. It's already crossed over with the Teen Titans, and it has its own game, which looks god-awful. But hey, marketing. So it's doing something right. So to wrap things up, I'm not going to tell you to watch this because it's ultimately up to you whether you want to or not. But the purpose of today's video is not only to mark my return, but to remind you that it's not always right to judge a book by its cover. And you never know, you may enjoy it. And that's about it. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one, whenever that is. Subscribe and take care of yourself.